Everybody, welcome to Grow Night. We're at Indoor Garden Market. We're going to be talking about seed saving, holiday gifting from your indoor food garden. If you're just joining us and not sure what we're doing here, we actually have a free training program for indoor food growing that allows you to learn how to grow more than 75 pounds of greens, herbs, and fruiting plants per year, right inside your home in about the same size space as a coffee table. You can grow a lot more than that, but if you just have about that amount of space, you're going to get really great results. It's super easy. You can start anytime. And as you can see, we're headed towards the holiday season. So lots of ways of producing more food for yourself and maybe even some ideas to give you gifting out of your indoor food garden. So lots of cool things you can do, really fun, great activity for the family, great activity for yourself, you and your friends, just generally growing more. I mean, I don't think there's any bad reason to grow more for ourselves. And because we can do it indoors with LED grow lights, it opens up a world of possibilities for us. So let's kick things off, and we're going to jump straight over into our cycle here. So we're going to talk a little bit about, towards the end of this process, we're actually going to be looking at system cleanup, disinfection, and we're going to talk about why this matters. So as you're winding down your cycle and beginning another one, which we can do multiple times per year, somewhere between 4 and 8 times, depending on how much you're growing, how frequently you're harvesting from your systems. You definitely want to clean and disinfect. So that cleaning process is going to give you healthier plants, consistent yields. It's going to prevent the buildup of algae, mold, and nutrients that might harm roots. And it's essential between cycles to reset your growing environments. So a couple of different ways to do this. If you've got a hydroponic system, you want to drain the system completely, remove any leftover plants, and then rinse with warm water to remove debris and residue. Disinfect the whole system using a mild hydrogen peroxide, about 3% mixture, or white vinegar solution. You don't want to use anything that's too harsh, though, because like bleach, could potentially cause problems. Soak or wipe your net pots and use those, reuse those, of course, and then air dry fully before refilling with your new nutrients. Soil system's a little bit more complex to reset. You're going to, actually a little bit simpler, sorry. You're going to empty and shake out your used soil, compost, or dispose responsibly. Clean your containers and trays with warm soapy water. Rinse well if you're using them for growing seedlings or smaller plants like greens and herbs. Wipe lights and fans to remove dust buildup. And then you're going to bring extra soil in and then blend those in, prep your seedling trays for the next cycle, all of those things. Important to note that if you're growing seedlings or even the full plants in your systems, increasing airflow using clip-on fans is helpful in order to reduce the possibility of mold and contamination. Sanitize your tools. So if you're cutting your plants with scissors, it's a good idea to throw those into the washing machine and dishwasher, and also maybe clean those with soap periodically through the week. That way you're not spreading germs between your different plants. And you want to keep the lids or the domes on top of seedlings up so that they've got lots of air. So I've got some seedlings right here. You can kind of get a sense of them. These are big enough. They don't need a dome anymore, but having a light fan blowing on them all the time really makes them nice and tall and strong. So always clean your systems. That's going to get your plants to grow better and faster. And we'd love to hear from you in the chat. If you could, what's your go-to cleaning trick if you're already growing food indoors? And if you're not, we would encourage you to do so by joining our free training program you see right above us there. It's really easy to do. You get email reminders, you get tips and tricks and guides. You get to grow along with us year round inside in your home, in your apartment, inside of a city. Doesn't really matter anymore. So definitely grow along with us, and you can actually share your before and after photos of what you're growing with hashtag #MyIndoorFoodGarden. So you can join the party and growing together. Now, at the end of the process, in some cases, you might have seeds to save. So it's good to prioritize open pollinated or heirloom varieties of plants. Those are easier to save. Avoid hybrid seeds or F1. Those are typically geared towards specific brands of tomatoes and cucumbers. Most of your green seeds are not necessarily going to be in that style. Select seeds from healthy, vigorous plants. If you do have them, go to flower and then they start to dry out and go to seed. And make sure you harvest from fully mature fruits or pods. Now, once you have got those seeds, you can remove pulp and debris, and you can air dry in a shaded spot, or you air dry, somewhere inside your kitchen is good option. Perhaps a closet would be good if you had some fan and some circulation. Lots of ways you can do that. Once you've got them dried, you can obviously store them by using airtight containers, glass jars, foil packets, sealed bags to prevent moisture and exposure. Label the container with plant names, variety, and the collection date. Very important. Store in a cool, dark, and dry place. Around 40 degrees Fahrenheit is ideal, so a basement might be a good option through most of the year. If you keep those little gel packets that you'll see come in consumer products, you could actually add those in with the seed so they will absorb that extra moisture, prevent things from becoming too humid inside the packages. For long-term storage, refrigeration or freezing extends the seed life, especially for small batches of seeds. So, and you can always check the viability annually with a simple germination test by starting a couple of seeds on a damp paper towel. Lots of ways to save those seeds as you're turning off one of your systems, or maybe you're cycling down and you're going to be starting up your next batch of indoor food growing plants. So we're at the end of our fall growing cycle, and it's really important that you get geared up to go through your next into the next winter indoor growing cycle. So the best way to do that is you can actually. Nice thing about growing food indoors is you can focus on cool season crops: lettuce, spinach, kale, arugula, Swiss chard, herbs like parsley and cilantro. You want to choose compact, fast-growing varieties suited for container or hydroponic systems. Most of your greens and herbs are going to be happy in those systems, and even soil. 3 gallon size container for soil is perfectly fine. Fruiting crops like tomatoes or peppers, they can grow inside if you've got a pretty powerful grow light. So I would say if you're using just standard grow lights you ordered on a big box store or Amazon, I would say over 100 watts per light is of power consumption is a good indication it's going to be great for tomatoes or cucumbers. Keep your temperatures right around the same temperature you would want if you were, just living in your home. 65 to 75 degrees is typically fine for most greens and herbs. Important that as it gets colder outside, you want to avoid cold drafts near windows, maintain steady warmth and humidity. So avoid keeping seedlings, avoid keeping your plants right next to windows where you might have that draft. And if you do have a little bit of sunlight coming in, it's a good idea to rotate the plants weekly. So if there's some sun, 4 to 6 hours, 5 to 8 hours, something like that, of sun coming in through your window, just rotate the plants around so that the plants that are consistently getting the grow lights also are getting a more balanced amount of the sunlight as well. So if you're going to start from seedlings, which I definitely recommend, these can be grown out in about 30 days, and they really save you a lot of time when you're actually starting to grow indoors after the fact, because you can take these little plugs and you can actually pop them out and put them over into your hydroponic system or your soil system. It's a great way of getting a jump on growing. But keep in mind, you want your seedlings to have a consistently warm area, a dome over the top of the containers, keep it moist inside there, and also you might need towards the coldest parts of the winter, you might need to add a heat tray so that the overall media that the seeds are growing in is going to be the same temperature or a good temperature. Important, if you are growing in trays for seedlings, label the trays, track the planting dates so you've got a steady succession and planting rhythm all winter long. All right. So if you've gone all the way through the planting, the cycle, you've got lots of different materials laying around, hopefully. Here's a couple of DIY gift ideas that you might be able to use as we get towards the holiday season. So one really interesting thing you can do is an herb salt blend. So if you've got dried herbs like basil and thyme and rosemary or parsley, with you can actually mix those with sea salt or Himalayan pink salt. And the ratio is 1 part dried herbs to 4 parts salt. Blend those in a food processor and then store those in an airtight jar. You might personalize them, for example, lemon basil salt, garden herb finishing salt. Perfect for gifting alongside a homegrown recipe card or a small wooden spoon. Lots of nice ways to do that. And all of these herbs grow prolifically in hydroponic systems. You will have way more herbs than you'll ever possibly be able to use at one time. Another amazing thing you can use is infused oils. So if you've got fresh or dried herbs, rosemary, oregano, basil, chili flakes, high quality olive oil, you can place those herbs in a clean glass bottle, pour some warm oil over them, let them steep for 1 to 2 weeks, and then strain the oil out so that there's nothing floating in there. But you can put it into small containers, add a sprig or two into the bottle for decoration, and then you can put on, you can label it as, say, fall or winter 2025, so people have an idea of how old the bottles are. And it's great to create theme blends: Italian herb oil, spicy garlic oil, lemon thyme infusion. Really fun. And if you know anybody who loves to cook in the kitchen, it's hard to beat fresh infused oil. Last but not least, mini planters. So if you've got small recycled containers, mason jars, terracotta pots, you can create living gifts. So you could plant dwarf basil, mint, microgreens for a fresh, low maintenance surprise for gifting. Put a little small care tag on it describing watering and light needs. So I would generally put something like water sparingly, make sure that the soil is moist like a sponge, and and that you don't have sitting water inside of the containers. And most plants are going to be happy with that. You can decorate with twine, ribbon, or paint for a personalized touch. And another interesting thing to do is dried herb sachets and tea blends. So if you've got herbs, many different kinds of herbs growing, which you absolutely can, you can combine them with lavender, chamomile, peppermint, lemon balm, and you can create a calming sachet or teas. So package those in breathable bags with jute or hemp string, and then add a small tag that says something like "fun for relaxing evenings from my indoor food garden." Lots of different ways you can do these things, and it makes it a really personal. So if you've got these herbs that are just piling up and you just don't know what else to do with them, making some unique gifts to provide to your neighbors or your family, I think, is a really great way of doing it. So definitely check out more of these kinds of things if you're not familiar with them. We'll leave some links in the chat so that you can get familiar with them as well. Moving right along here. So we've got, so like I said before, we're planning the winter session for indoor food growing and gardening. I've got a special planner for you, and let me put up that QR code. There you go. So this is an indoor garden planning challenge and QA planner. So commonly asked questions and answers. It's got a step-by-step weekly layout for planting, lighting, and harvesting, checklist for hydroponic and soil system, and then an idea about different plants that you can grow over time. Super easy to use. All of these free resources are part of our free training program. You can sign up on our website. You constantly get new reminders. You get new ways of growing. We talk about new systems, new lights, new products to help you. If you live in a local area where we have a community grower, for example, I'm in the Northern Virginia area, we have great resources to help you out as well. For example, we've got seedling bundles that we provide that will give you a boost, usually save you 30 to 40 days of your growing before you're actually going to harvest. So if you get one of our seedling bundles at our monthly events held at Crooked Run Brewing on December, the next one is coming December 5th, but it's always on the first Sunday of the month at 12 p.m. You can actually grab one of these seedling bundles. Seedling bundles come in a package that looks something like this here. You can take these out, pop them into a hydroponic system, pop them into a soil system, You can grow them outside, you can grow them indoors. I recommend starting indoors because you can do it anytime. If you want to start growing now, you'll be harvesting before Christmas. If you have a large system, you could be harvesting a couple of salads a week before Christmas or even more than that. So it's a great way of saving you a ton of time. You don't have to worry about seeds. You don't have to worry about what varieties. We've already figured that complexity out for you. We've got these awesome little seedling bundles, and it takes 2 minutes, 5 minutes maybe to fill up your hydroponic system or to plant out in your soil systems and get a light on them. So it's a really great way of not only getting huge diversity of your food, growing more for yourself and in large amounts indoors, but also just having fun and getting a lot of really fresh greens and herbs for you to eat. So really easy to do, and it's available in any place where we have a community grower. Shifting gears here. So we love to highlight other growers, people who are growing food indoors or doing creative things with food growing plants indoors. This is a longtime friend of Indoor Garden Market, planter Jason. He's at basically about basil, basically underscore about underscore basil on Instagram and a lot of different social channels. He is obsessed with growing basil and he loves to grow new varieties. So after taking one of our courses about a year ago, he began experimenting with indoor growing of basil and also harvesting and seeds. So he's been making a lot of progress on that. We've been following him. I would invite you to follow him as well. Check out all the interesting varieties. He creates new varieties of basil that no one has ever experienced. You can order them on his website. It's really interesting. So highly recommend a quick look at that. And also going to do just a quick reminder here as well. If you are joining us, we have a free indoor food growing training program, and I'll bring up the QR code for that in just a second. Here you go. So free indoor food growing training program. All you have to do is scan that QR code or go to indoorgardenmarket.com, join anytime, grow along with us. If you share hashtag my indoor food garden, we'll feature you on an upcoming live stream just like this. We love to show how easy it is for people to actually do this growing, and we give you tons of resources in order to help you out. So among those resources we have is a free garden setup guide. So this right here, it's just a step-by-step quick guide of materials you'll need, places to get them, where you're going to order them, how you're going to set them up on hydroponics or even soil. And if you really want to jump straight in and you want an easy way of doing that, we've got an indoor food growing video training playlist. This is featured on YouTube. It's a free playlist. If you start at the beginning of the playlist and go all the way through it, we take you through all of the complexity of indoor food growing and show you how to grow more than 75 pounds of greens, herbs, and fruiting plants per year indoors. Totally free. It's on YouTube. All you got to do is scan that code, or if you look at Indoor Garden Market on YouTube, you'll find it pretty easily. It's indoor food growing from A to Z. Lots and lots of free ways of doing this, free resources. And thanks so much for joining us. It's been fun. We've been doing I've done 2 grow cycles so far, coming into our 3rd one. And you can do this anytime. I just want to re-emphasize that. There is no limitation to how much food you can grow indoors. Your only limit is your imagination and the space. And if you have the same size space as a coffee table free inside your home, you can grow up to 75 pounds of greens, herbs, and fruiting plants. And every week we do this live stream and we show you new exciting ways of doing that. So next week we've got indoor food growing, a Q&A session, and system spotlight. I'm going to talk about some of the bigger systems out there. We're going to show some systems. We're going to transplant our next bunch of seedlings, which you see right here, into one of our smaller systems, and then we'll give you a quick look at some of our bigger systems and how they're growing. It's a lot of fun. Please join us at the free training at indoorgardenmarket.com and share hashtag my indoor food garden when you are growing so that you can grow along with us. We'd love to highlight you on our next live stream. And for me, Cliff, in Northern Virginia for Indoor Garden Market and Planter, really excited to see what you're going to grow, and I hope you'll share with us. So that's it for this week. We look forward to seeing what you're growing, and we will see you next time.